Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another afternoon chat with me, Steve Trainer, on the project in your community. Biggest independent blues group out there, 25,000 and counting, 61,000 including visits, and 2 million people visiting us every 28 days. It's great, isn't it? So let's do what we're good at. Shall we talk? We're going to talk today about tomorrow's match against Derby County, as we sort of just hanging onto the tails of the possibility of getting into the playoffs. It shouldn't be like that. We've had the opportunity to get in there, but we just haven't done it yet. You never know. Derby, of course, I think they've got 2 more points than us. So tomorrow's a big game for both teams. It's a really important one. So we're going to see who turns up and who doesn't. I'm going to have a little search around, the way I always do when we first come on, and see who's about. We'll just expand the comments a little bit and see if there's anyone here. Yeah, there should be. I'm hoping. So we've got a couple of people on. So let's just wait and see who's going to come and say hello to me first today. Usually like Paul James or Lee, or there's a few others that often pop on first. Yesterday it was Angus. I hadn't seen Angus for a while. But come and say hello. Let's get the ball rolling. Like to think about who's going to feature tomorrow for Blues. It's Derby County have had an awful lot of injuries over the last few weeks. Last month or so. So have we. We've had an awful lot of injuries just coming out the other side of ours. Luckily, they've still got a few players that are struggling. So let's wait and see what their lineup's going to be. But we can have a little look at it. We can see what we think they're likely to put out there, and also see what system they're likely to play tomorrow. I think I know what they'll do tomorrow, but we don't know for definite, do we? John Eustace, he's fairly conservative in the way he plays, John does, but I think he's tried to play more expansive football as the season's gone on. He did an amazing job at Derby County last season, keeping them up. It really was something special, wasn't it? I think they were sort of dead and buried, to be honest, as the season started. When he took over, I think they were like at 1.7 points away from safety, and he came in and he really turned it around for them last season. So fair play to John Eustace. I mean, I always liked him as a man. I think if we had to sort of choose a manager, if we were recruiting a manager now, I don't think John Eustace would be the one that I would personally recruit. But that's not having a go at John. He did a great job for us. I think he was treated really badly, to be honest. I know people were saying we were in 6th place and everything at the time, and we were. But it was an infant league, wasn't it? I think it was like 4 or 5 or 6 weeks old or something. So it wasn't a true reflection of our league position. But I'm pretty sure last season, if John Eustace, not yet last season, season before, had John Eustace stayed, I don't think we would have had that season in in League One, and I don't know whether that's a good thing or not, to be honest. That League One season was something else, wasn't it? It's something I really enjoyed. I think a lot of Blues fans did. It gave us an opportunity to win something, which we did. We unfortunately lost our game at Wembley, but it was a day out at Wembley again, and we've done quite a lot of those, haven't we, over the last sort of 20 years now, when you think about the barren spell that we had prior to that. And I mean, it really was barren, wasn't it? Really was. Angus is the first on again. Good afternoon, Angus. How you doing, son? Is it sunny in Brighton? It's a bit of a miserable day here, to be honest with you. It's 14 degrees and it's a bit overcast and grey, so it's one of those days in Spain that happens at this time of year. It's a bit of a rainy couple of months, March and April. It's my birthday in April, and it always pisses down with rain on my birthday. So you just got to grin and bear it, because you're only. I mean, it's not cold this time of year, but you're only like a matter of 6 weeks away from full on sunshine for 6 months. So we can put up with that, I think. 6 or 7 months. So Yeah. So our game tomorrow then, any ideas about what the lineup might be? Is it gonna, do you think we're gonna remain unchanged? It was a bit of the Sheffield United game, I mean, we didn't do a lot wrong really. We just didn't score. Um, oh, Angus has got his shorts on. Woo! Nice one, Angus. You got your legs out, son. Must be sunny in Brighton. Then get yourself down onto the Noddy Beach. I don't suppose there's anyone on the beach at this time of year in Brighton, is there? Um, so yeah, it's going to be interesting on Saturday. I don't think we played badly against Sheffield United. We just didn't put the ball in the net. We had some really bad luck as well. If, in all honesty, we did. You can, I know people are going to say, "Well, you make your own luck and all that," but you have to sometimes just, say wasn't our day. We should have won the game. We didn't. It's happened a few times now, but we can still make up for it. Do we keep an unchanged team? I wouldn't personally. I would change that team. I don't know about you guys. Let me know what you think. Is this a team you would keep? Um, the centre half is your left-sided centre half. I don't think that it's going to be anything other than it was last week when we had Jack Robinson on the left side. Simply because I think the gaffer took Jack off because he'd been booked. That's what he said as well. He said he took him off because he was booked. Few people have said, well, it's because he touched the ball. I mean, it's a bit of an idiotic thing to say. He didn't do it on purpose. These things happen, and there's not much you can do about it, really, is there? When it happens, it happens. He played well, but he always plays well. Jack Robinson is a really good left-sided centre half with loads of championship experience, something that everyone was crying for. We want championship experience. Well, we got it, and he is very, very good in the championship. And I think he will start on the left side of defence tomorrow. I'm pretty sure that back four stays the same. Cochrane's not back until after the break. Neither is Wagner. If both of them get back, that is, we're not 100% sure yet who's gonna get in that left back position when we eventually come back, get back after the break. So it's our last game because next week end, of course, it is the international break, and so we won't be playing, and neither will anyone else. So if we do win, oh dear. If we do win, it does give us that opportunity of getting ourselves up there a little bit, which I think is going to be, that'll be nice. It'll be nice for us to have a little think about it and see how we feel. Is there any chance if we win tomorrow? It depends as well, of course, on other results. I think Wrexham have got a tough run in. Derby got a fairly tough run in as well. They've got to play the likes of Middlesbrough and Ipswich and Hull. So, we've got to play Ipswich and Hull, but I think that's a good thing for us. And Derby are probably thinking the same thing too. Derby have been they've had a season really that is, probably more than they could have expected. I think the fans would have been happy this season to consolidate. Having said that, our fans said the same, and now it's almost as if we've we've had a really bad season or something, and we're still in with the chance of getting in the playoffs. So they have a lot of injuries, and it'll be interesting to see how they line up tomorrow. They have, of course, got our old right-sided centre half, Dion Sanderson. I think Dion's had a bit of a mixed bag there. Got 2 drinks. Look, I've got my coffee, and I've been taking this over the last 4 weeks. It's collagen and something else, can't remember, but it's collagen and magnesium. So apparently, it'll make me gorgeous, it'll make me hair blow in the wind, it'll be lovely, it'll make me nails nice. So I'm giving it a go. just having you're coming from work now, protein powder, magnesium and collagen. Fucking, I don't know, like, you know, older you get. Good afternoon, Lee. How are you, mate? Yeah, so we'll be having a look at Derby. Derby County, of course, with the presence of Patrick Agyemang up top, the American striker, 6'3" or whatever he is. He scored 10 goals this season in 37 games, I think, something like that. So he's not short of goals. 1 in every 4. He sort of scores the same sort of ratio as Dux does. Probably not as good as Dux, because Dux hasn't played as many games. He hasn't started as many anyway. He's one we have to watch. They're not, Derby for me at the back are very vulnerable. The two centre halves aren't particularly big. I think it's Clark on the on the left hand side. I think. Let me just have a quick brush up on Derby County. Yeah, it's Clark on the right and Sanderson on the left. Sanderson, 6 foot. He hasn't had a brilliant season. I think when he signed, he was a bit surprised that Eustace had signed him. I think there was a little bit of to and fro about him coming, but he went there and he had a bit of a nightmare start. I think at QPR he gave a penalty away or something in his first game, or got sent off or something like that. And he didn't have a great start, and the fans were a little bit hit and miss about him. But since then, I think he's improved a bit. That's not to say that he isn't a bit vulnerable. We all know he's got a mistake in him. On the left-hand side, we got Clark, who he's just 6 foot. Sanderson's like 6'3" or 6'2", and they're missing I forget the main centre half. I forget his name, but he's out at the moment. I think he's suspended or injured. Paul James is on. How you doing, Paul? So we got these two centre halves that haven't played together that much, that probably are going to be a little bit vulnerable. So for me, that would affect who I play up top. The two fullbacks are Ward and Merkin. Now Merkin, the left-sided fullback, he's only coming to cover an injury, and apparently he's playing really at the top of his game. He joined them in January, and he's been a really good signing for them. So Merkin, I think, has had a couple of assists. And on the right-hand side, we got Ward, who again gets forward. They play, which is not really like a typical Eustace setup, but they have been playing with a 4-2-3-1. So same lineup, same sort of setup as us. When I think last season it came, this season I think they started with a back five, like a very defensive wing back setup. That sort of setup, Sanderson is happier with two at the back. He's not so comfortable. So for me, I'd be playing Stansfield and Priska. I'll be playing Priska up top, and I'll be Stansfield in the 10. And let Priska come a little bit deep as well, the way he did against Norwich. Let him get wide occasionally. I've said before that when Chris Davis uses this particular system of 4-2-3-1, which he seems to prefer more than anything else, he always uses it. It is a little bit more fluid than he doesn't. It's not like he doesn't give them the opportunity to be a bit fluid, and they do move around a little bit. So I think Priska and Stansfield are the two for this one. Steve Daniels is saying, "Hi Steve, thanks for the birthday wishes." All right, happy birthday. Do you fancy Blues win tomorrow? I'm getting more and more worried about getting my hopes up, because and I shouldn't be saying that, because I'm always really, really positive about Blues, but I do think it's a game we should win, and I don't want to be the kiss of death on it. It's a game I want us to win, because me and a few mates, Blues fans, are going to go and watch this game at a Villa pub tomorrow. We've got the gaffer to put it on live for us. It's a Villa pub, and well, it's going to be good, isn't it? So it's going to be a day of having a few drinks and watching the game, which is something I don't usually do because I usually like to be able to comment on the game afterwards or the next day, which I can do. I can watch the highlights or whatever. I'll be watching it live, but you know what it's like when you've had a drink and when you've got people talking to you, you tend to miss things, don't you? So if you're in this neck of the woods in Spain tomorrow, which is La Fuente, that area, which is not far from Torrevieja, then come to the Lime Bar in La Fuente and come and see us. Come and meet us and have a laugh. It's going to be good. But yeah, do I fancy us? I'm going to say, yeah, I do. I think the 3 points are there for us to take. They have got threat, As I've mentioned, Aguimang already, and then you got Sammy Szmodics behind him in the 10. Szmodics is a nice footballer, and then you've got Brereton Diaz on the right side of that 3. They have got a threat, so I think we have to be very switched on at the back. Left hand side is Brewster as well. So the three in the middle, Szmodics in the 10, Brewster on the right, Brewster on the left, and Brereton Diaz on the right. I think Szmodics only got 3 or 4 goals. I think Blackburn is a lot more prolific, but I don't know. They've got a very good forward line of Derby, but I think we can score against them. Yeah, it's more or less what I just said, really. It's going to be interesting seeing Aguimang in amongst our defenders because usually we struggle a little bit with that kind of centre forward. He isn't just the target man; he can run at defences as well, and the fans love him at Derby, and I think he's the one we've got to keep our eye on. So Aguimang down the middle, who's going to have him? I think it's going to be one for Christoph Clara because it's going to be a physical one. Clara's the bigger of our centre halves. I think he's a little bit more brutal, but Aguimang has got pace, and if he gets the opportunity to turn Clara, I think we could be in the shit, But on the other side, of course, we've got Jack Robinson, and then we have these 2 centre backs. These 2, particularly the number 10, Sammy Szmodics, and then this is where we're going to hopefully see a little bit of action from John Solis and Pikey, who I expect to be in there mixing it up. Afternoon, Steve. Nice and loud today. Oh, thanks, Steve. I did listen to you, and I did go in and I did fanny around with the mic a little bit. It wasn't like up on full volume; it still isn't, but it could have been louder, Richard's saying, are we thinking Clara and Panzo? No, it's going to be Robinson for me. I think Robinson's the first choice of those 2 centre halves now, and I think that's how it's going to be for the rest of the season, barring any issues. Panzo's okay, and he's okay as a backup, which is really what he was bought for. We didn't have much luck with this in the centre halves for the centre halves, did we? All the way through the season, we didn't. And then in the January window, we were negotiating with an American that went tits up. And we bought Panzo in the end. It could have been a lot worse. I don't think Jonathan Panzo's done a lot wrong, but he sometimes doesn't look that comfortable. Where I think Jack Robinson is a natural left-sided centre half. He's a leader. He talks a lot. He knows the players well. He knows the Championship well, and he's no dummy. Despite him picking the ball up last week when it was in play, but apart from that, I think definitely. What do you think he subbed Robbo off? Well, he was on a yellow card. I think that's what he was thinking. When you got Panzo on the bench, we're pressing the hell out of Sheffield United. We were in command. You got Robinson on a yellow. I think what Chris Davis was thinking was we don't need Robinson to get sent off because we're not in a position to lose a left-sided centre half for a couple of games, and particularly that left-sided centre half. It's actually what Chris Davis said as well. I know you could think, well, he's only saying that, but that's what I think. It's what I said at the time. He's took him off because he's on a yellow. He didn't touch the ball on purpose, and to be honest with you, he had his back to the ball when Beadle was bringing it from the line, and I think, and where Beadle put it, I'm not trying to blame Beadle, by the way, where he put it, like by the edge of the 6-yard box, I think Robinson, well, he did think he was just going to go back and take a goal kick. He positioned the ball and put his hand on it. When he did it, I thought, is the ball gone dead? I was like, fuck. Oh, Jesus. But at least we saved it, and really, I think Beadle kept us in that game, didn't he? Because already it saved one from the centre forward, Patrick, fucking what's his name? Great save down to his feet, and of course eventually we were split by that long ball. When we got caught out, we did. Steve Daniels, I'm glad he did it though. Well, I sort of am as well now, Steve, because it's shut a lot of Beadle haters up, and I don't want to get into this Beadle Allsop argument because I'm not involved in it. I think they're both good goalkeepers. But I wouldn't want to drop a goalkeeper just because there's pressure on him from the supporters. The thing that annoys me is the supporters have no reason to be nasty to him, and they really are horrible, It was a nice confidence boost, and it don't matter who you were, you had to you had to applaud that save, didn't you? It was really good. It did him good, I think, yeah, definitely. And he wasn't at fault for the goal. I mean, some joker, I think I mentioned the other day, there's a great photo of Beadle, spread eagle like this, with the striker going on goal and putting the ball past him with the split ball, the ball that split the two centre halves, and going look at that clown Beadle. I mean, what did he want him to do? I'm not sure, but when people make comments like that, then you know what it is. It's just dislike. It's nothing to do with football, because it's an unwarranted comment, isn't it? It's one of your own players, and he hadn't done anything wrong at all. But I don't know. So I don't know what. Let's have your thoughts on the team. I mean, who would you play up front? Would you go with Priska, or would you leave it as it was? A lot of people sort of, I think, are thinking that it might be left unchanged because it didn't really do a lot wrong, to be fair. Like I said, they play quite well. Sheffield United are one of the better teams in the division, there's no doubt about that. So, I don't know. I would make that change. I think that's probably the only change that I would make, would be that one. Just to give us a little bit more steel up front, I think. It was it depends who you're playing, doesn't it? And I think with this game, when you've got two centre halves that aren't looking particularly confident together, then that's when you put someone like Priska in. I think who's gonna shake it up a little bit. And then of course you got the added you have the added threat then of Stansfield and anyone else that can get around and about. Just give me a moment. I'm sorry. Yeah. So I mean, obviously Patrick Bamford's he's a very good striker, and I think he's going to cause any defence in the Championship issues. And he got through with that one-on-one with Beadle with the header when Beadle made an absolutely world-class save, but the goal that he took well. And we were caught, we were just caught. And it's what I was talking about yesterday, I think this is why we play with the two at the base of the midfield rather than probably risking one there to give us a little bit more depth. Lee's saying, Steve, what's wrong with some of the fans going on about Dimi? What's wrong with him? I don't think there's anything wrong with Dimmy, mate. And I honestly think that, listening to some of our supporters, they just, I honestly don't know what's wrong with them. I mean, Damari Gray has been an absolutely fantastic signing for us. He didn't set the world on fire when he came on, but players have bad games. We all do. I mean, I played football. A lot of you played football. When you come off the pitch, you know when you've had a bad game. You do. You don't always play well. Rebecca's on. How are you, Bex? Nice to see you, love. Good afternoon, boss. Good afternoon, Beck. She's the boss, really. She just humours me, I think. So, yeah, it's difficult. So what we got here, this is Steve Daniels, Beagle, Iwata, Clara, Robbo and Laird. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what that back four is going to be, Steve. We'll have a look at what else you got there. Paik, Solis. This is the interesting one now. Vicente, Stano, Osman and Duck. I wouldn't go with that. I mean, if Ducks is playing, he doesn't want to be playing up front. He wants to be playing in the 10. He's not gonna. Listen, it's just an opinion. I wouldn't play Ducks up top. He's not. He isn't physical enough to play as the number 9. In the number 10, he's better for me. The other thing with that, Steve, is I think we're playing Vicente and Osman with a little bit too open through the middle. Vicente always goes wide and Osman does too. It's rare that you see them inside. I think it'll probably be Roberts and Osman. I think that gives us a little bit more alongside Stansfield, so it becomes almost like 2 number 8s at times. And then we'll have Osman doing what he usually does, what he does best. And for me, Stansfield in the 10, I agree with that, but I would have Priska up the top. And if Stansfield is in that 10 position and he has Roberts coming in alongside him, it makes us more dangerous going forward. Just my opinion. Paul James just come back from injury also. Who are you, Paul? What's the matter with you, son? Who's just come back from injury? I'm sorry, I was getting carried away there. I was just talking too much. Lee Harvey saying, seen a few vlogs. Crazy, eh, mate? Yeah, well, I mean, it depends what what you want to do when you do a podcast or a vlog. I think I could come on here dead easy, just like I could in the group, and I could slag the players off. And I'm telling you now, if I was on here now slagging off Beadle and slagging off a few others, you wouldn't be able to get a comment in because everyone would be on it like a car bonnet, wouldn't they? Because we tend to be a little bit more reasonable, then it doesn't. People that tend to comment in in the group and also on the podcasts, I think people tend to be a little bit more sensible, and so they don't have to get on there screaming at each other and throwing insults around. I know we had a little bit of a funny bloke on yesterday being a dick. He wasn't on here, he was in the group. I asked him to come on here, but he wouldn't. But you know what I mean. Steve Daniels saying my opinion. Yeah, it's fine, Steve. I think, yeah. I don't think you can leave Duck out at the minute. I don't know. I think that Duck's question is such a difficult one. You could say, honestly, you can say, right, you can't leave Ducks out at the minute, and I'll have to agree. But you can also say you can't play Ducks at the minute, and I'd have to agree with that as well, because we can't be a man down. It depends which version of Ducks turns up, and he tends to be much better at home than he is away. I don't know, he's a bit of an enigma, isn't he? But I think if you play Priska and Stansfield, Stansfield's got the press. I just think probably the best 2 to start with. We've got Ducks on the bench, you can come on. This is why, who would be a manager, honestly, It's like I'm glad Chris Davis has to pick that team and not me, because it's just such a difficult thing to do. And we have so many. I think the other issue at the moment is, in a way, we got too much quality in the squad, because it's like with the wingers now. We got 4 wingers, all of them could start, and although it's sort of brilliant, I don't even know if that's a good thing. You know, I know one of them, Patrick Roberts, tends to come inside more, but I just don't know. We haven't got that sort of, and we have got Doyle, who can play like in a slightly more forward role and can play the ball around and knock it about like a Barry Bannon or something. But he's another one that blows hot and cold. You know, he plays really well, and then he goes cold as well. So I just don't know. But I think my team, actually, I've seen Harry put a team on yesterday. I think it would be pretty much that one. I can't remember exactly what he put, but I'll tell you now what my team would be. We would have Beagle in goal, Iwata. And I think Iwata's days as a right back are coming to a close. As soon as we get a left back fit, I think Iwata then goes onto the bench. I can't see him getting into that pivotal defensive role. Midfield defensive role. So Solis and Paik, it goes without saying. And then, like I said, I think it's going to be Roberts and Osman as the 2 wide players, with Stansfield in the 10 and with Priska up front. Now, I'm saying I think that's what it'll be. That's what I would pick. I don't know what Chris Davis will pick. Chris, sometimes if the team's played well and they haven't done anything wrong, he'll keep it unchanged, and he may well do that. So we may see just the same team as we had last week, which would be all right with me. I wouldn't have a problem with it. But like I say, the only worry for me is that Ducks tends to go a little bit missing at times. I don't know. I mean, what is everyone's thoughts on Ducks? I know it is a little bit one of those, like, you know, you love him or hate him. I mean, I don't hate him at all. But, you know, he wouldn't be first on the sheet for me. Paul James, Dimmy, he's coming back from an injury. Paul, I'm sorry, I didn't see that, mate. So Lee Harvey, who is everyone's favourite Blues player so far this season? Oh, it's a tough one, that is. If I had to name someone for Player of the Year this season, I think it would have to be Paik, with a side order of Dimmy, but probably Paik for me. I think he's done enough to earn that. You know, he's quality, isn't he? And whenever he's one of those players, Paik, you know, you tend not to notice him too much when he's playing sometimes. But when he doesn't play, you really notice it, you know, because we do miss him badly when he isn't in that side. So Paik would be for me, and possibly, you know, Dimmy. And we've still got 8 games left, so there's still time for Dimmy to have 8 absolutely brilliant games, to score a hat-trick in every game, and get us into the championship playoffs. But who knows? I don't know. Who would yours be, Lee? There could be an argument. I don't think, you know, Clara, I think, is often man of the match, but I don't think he's done enough to be like the best player of the season. He has played a lot of games, so he would be one that you think would be probably, you know, with a shout. But I don't think Stansfield has had that great a season, so I don't think he'd be one. I've just mentioned about Ducks, you know, so I don't know. Andrew Williams is saying Paik all day long, next Clara. Yeah, like I just said, people will say Clara as well. Clara has had a hard season in a lot of ways, because whilst I've been saying that, like, I think one of our biggest issues this season has been the centre halves, but not Clara. You know, Clara has been the one constant factor with our centre halves. He's there all the time, you know. So I think that makes a big difference, you know. So his game's been affected by all the centre different partners he's had to have, but he's been steady, hasn't he? He's always there. He's in the trenches when you need him. He'll head anything away, you know. Paul James has put his hand up for Kai Wagner. He's only been here since January, so I don't think really we could have a January player as Player of the Year. I personally don't think so. Keep right on. Can't imagine how far down the league we would be without Duck's contribution. Think on the one who missed the first 6 games. I think Player of the Season for me. CD needs to build a team around him for next season. I mean, and like you say, you know, it's an opinion, and I think, you know, Ducks is a player that splits opinions. I don't know. Again, why don't you tell us your name, mate? It'd be much easier than keep calling you Keep Right On. But for me, you can't have a player of the season that goes missing in games. You know, I mean, there have been probably 5 or 6 games when you may not even notice Ducks is playing. You know, that's the issue with Ducks. If he was like, you know, if he's a player that scores 2 goals, you know, every game, then yeah, you know, I mean, when he's on form, he's brilliant. We know he's got a lovely touch. He's got a lovely flick. He reads the game well. But he's just not constant. He's just not consistent enough for me. Paul's saying, true, Steve. Maybe Paddy then. Yeah, Paddy Roberts has had a really good season, I think. You know, he's been more attack-minded this season. It's hard to sort of easily pick a player of the season when we haven't had that brilliant a season. I mean, we've had a good season from our recent history in the Championship, but we've had too many changes throughout the season. We've had, I don't know how many players we've used, but we've used a lot of players, haven't we? Lee Harvey's saying he gives 100% every game, can't ask for any more. No, you can't. I mean, Paik has been brilliant, and, you know, going right down to his dislocated shoulder and coming back when he could have had surgery, you know. He puts everything on the line. It seems like a really nice lad as well, but a very, very good player. He is quality, isn't he? There's no doubt about that. But yeah, I think this Ducks conversation will go on forever until he either does one thing or another. He becomes more consistent, or he loses his place, you know, because he's not consistent enough. I don't know. It's obvious that Chris Davis rates him, you know. I mean, he definitely does, but he is in and out of the side a little bit. Beck's saying, I know it's based on the men's team, but I've really enjoyed watching Lily Crosswhite this season. I think, for me, Lily's been brilliant, you know, but also, you know, I can't help always noticing Niamh Heron, and I think considering she probably wouldn't have been first choice, I think Niamh Heron has come in, you know, does a great job at centre half. The 2 new girls are good. Lily Crosswhite is brilliant. You know, I do love Lily. She's brilliant, and since she's moved from Durham, I think she's shown us what a quality player she is. Lee Harvey saying Ducks has begun in the summer. I don't. I've heard this rumour about people coming in for Ducks. I don't personally believe it. No one's going to come in for him yet. You know, I don't think. I can't see anyone approaching why would 3 teams approach us now for a player that's, you know, that's got another 2 months before the end of the season? I just don't believe that. There's not a window open. You know, I just think that's just talk. Lee, that's what I think. Make way for the new striker. I don't think we're going to be buying a new striker. I think we've done that. I think we bought Priska at the right price, because if we had to wait until the summer, that price would have gone through the roof. So I wouldn't be hanging your hat on a new striker coming in. You know, we're talking about the other day what we need. You have to remember that we just had a big window in January. Usually that window is quiet. I think and we had the conversation the other day, but I think the players that are going to be coming in the summer, probably a goalkeeper, a number one goalkeeper, a left-sided centre half that's oven ready for the championship. I've been using that term a lot lately. And the number 10, you know, we want a really good quality number 10 because we haven't got one. You know, we've got players that can play the 10, but we haven't got a 10. That's the problem. We haven't got a specialist number 10. Yeah, I think the other thing that when we was talking about sorry, who we were talking about? I'll come back to that in a minute. It was in my head and it just went. Lee saying, Steve, how old is Allsop? He's 32, I think. It's not old for a keeper, but I don't think he's probably a first team keeper. You know, he's great. He's absolutely great. You know, as a defensive player. I forgot what we was talking about then. I'd got something to say, but never mind. I think it was about ducks, but I can't remember. Anyway, remind me if I was halfway through and you can remember what I was going to say. Yeah, Allsop's 31, I think, and Beadle's 21. You know, don't get me wrong, James Beadle is a really good keeper. If we could sign him, we should sign him, but I don't think we should because I think too many people dislike him, and it's just as simple as that. You have to think about the player as well. And of course the player's got to agree to come, and I'm not even sure he'd want to come, to be honest. You know, and probably be a lot of people going, oh, thank God for that, you know. I don't know. Yeah, I was talking about getting this number 10, wasn't I? And hang on a minute, Lee Harvey saying, not long left then for him. See what you mean about getting a new keeper, makes sense. It does. I mean, 31's not like particularly old for a goalkeeper, but you know, he's a bit of a journeyman. Allsop. He's played for a lot of clubs, and he's good cover. You know, for me, he's good cover. He's not like what you would want as a number one goalkeeper. But yeah, talking about you know us looking for a number 10, I think then we being taken off again now. Keep right on. We don't need a striker. We need Stano played as the 9. Okay, Ricky, thank you. Stansfield as the 9, I agree, you know, I mean, he's great, but we bought Priska to play that role. So I think we're going to be looking at Stansfield in the 10 or the dual 8 or something like that, depending on how we tweak the lineup if we do. He wouldn't have bought Priska to not play, and I think well, the way I look at it with Chris Davis is he can see what a lot of us can see. Jay Stansfield, although he likes that position best, he likes playing in the 9. He's a very good number 9, but there's so much more to his game that we need him behind the number 9. You know, he's not a natural 10, but you know he can come in off the left, can't he? You know, Jay Stansfield can do a lot of things. If we were to play the 4-1-4-1, he could play like the dual 8 with Roberts or something. Or you know, if we played, I don't know, you know, like the Christmas tree 4-3-2-1, it could be in the 2 or the 3. So I think there's a lot of roles that Stansfield can play, and obviously like number 9 is one of them. But I don't think he will be playing that position next season because of Priska's purchase. We need a striker that's proven. Common sense, Priska is not cut out for the championship. Well, he isn't yet. No way. Every time I see him play, he looks lost and does silly things at times. I think Priska actually, when he has played, I think he's looked pretty good. I thought he looked really, really good at Norwich when, you know, I mean, he made that goal for think it was Patrick Roberts, was it? The ball inside. No, it was for Ducks, I think, when he went wide on the right and crossed the ball. He was also running at defenders and causing all sorts of problems in the Norwich defence. I think it's that version of Priska that we want to see. We don't want to see him as a target man. This is Ricky saying Stano came as a striker and now he's getting weekly praise for his work rate, covering every blade of grass. Surely that's not what we got him for. We didn't, but you know, I mean, if you buy a player as a number 9 and he turns out to be an absolutely brilliant, you know, like left-sided midfielder or whatever, and he actually contributes more there, then you can play him there. I think with Stansfield, the other thing with Stansfield, and that he can do it from the 9, but I think he can press better from a little bit deeper, and his press is absolutely amazing, isn't it? But I take your point, you know, he was bought as a striker, and I think, and I agree, you know, I agree with that, and on form, he's a great striker. I thought the way he started the season, he was going to score 20 goals. He's evidently not going to, you know. Lee's saying it's just my view. I know, Lee, I know what your view's been of Priska all season, mate. I understand, and fair enough. You know, we all have a view, and it's funny how people see players in different ways, isn't it? You know, people have said. I've had quite a few people say something like, you know, 2 or 3 people all mention the same player, saying, "Oh, he's good," in, you know. And I think I can't see it myself, you know. Like I don't see what they see, but we all see things differently. Lee Harvey saying Steno does so much off the ball. He does. His game out of possession is probably as good as his game in possession almost. He covers, he presses, and he has got that ability to take the ball by the scruff of the neck, hasn't he? John Kirby's coming on. Also, he's 34, is he? I thought he was 31, mate, but you know, yeah. He's no child, is he? So I'm not sure where I've seen that. I thought he was 31, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting lineup on Saturday, but I do think it's going to be probably unchanged. You know, I don't know. I think so. Yeah, he's 33. Allsop is 34 in June, I think. Yeah, you got it right there, John. I think you had a quick scan on the old Blues. What's it like? I just did. So you know, probably even more requirement for a younger goalkeeper that's going to command the. Well, I think what we need next season is a more settled team. And we haven't had that this season. Just looking at the centre half pairings, I think there must have been 7 or 8, because we've had. We started off with Neumann and Clara, and then Robinson came in, and then Cashin played, and then we had Iwata playing at centre half for a few games. Then we've had Neumann and Robinson playing. We've had Clara and Neumann. We've had Clara and Robinson. We've had Clara and Cashin. You know, it doesn't give a lot of. The goalkeeper needs that confidence in centre halves, the same as the centre halves need the confidence in the goalkeeper. Harry Parker saying Martinez is 33, goalkeepers go on longer. Yeah, apparently Martinez had an absolutely brilliant game yesterday, but listening to Villa fans, you know, a lot of them not that keen on him anymore. He's a bit cocky, isn't he? And he's got a mistake in him, but yeah. They do go on longer. I was just saying, Harry, that I think, like the team you picked, I'm not sure what you picked up front now. I think I said, I've seen your team, I think that's what I'd go with, except there was one change and I can't remember what it was. I think you went for Vicente on the right or something, I can't remember. But anyway, tell us what it was, and I'll give you my opinion. Richard saying, anybody remember how many games Lerdo has played? No, but his injury occurred, I believe, was it November? Would I be right? around October, November, I think his injury kicked in. Although I'm sure someone can just have a quick look and see. To lose a player of his quality for that long is a big loss as well. And of course, we had the bad luck with the left backs, didn't we? The left back position at Blues is jinxed. I mean, anyone that plays left back, you might as well just write yourself off. So the back four has been a massive miss for me. Too much swapping around. We've had quality players, but they haven't been able to settle. So probably going to be an unpopular comment, this, but personally, I think that Cashin, was a really good player. I just don't think we made the most of him. He made a few errors against Coventry. I must be honest, he looked awful, but we just jumped down his throat too fast, and I just think he looked nervous when he played for us. When he played for us in January, just before he went, I thought how good he looked. And now, if you look at Blackburn, he's man of the match every game. He's missed Richard Lawton says missed a lot of football, and Cochrane's missed 3 months. Yeah, I think Laird must have missed 4 months. So we've had our two. Well, what was initially our two first choice fullbacks missing for ages, and then we had Buchanan missing, of course, and then we've had to really. Chris Davis has had to convert Iwata back into a right back when he really. I think he started his career as a right back, but and he does do a good job there. He's no Ethan Laird. So Ricky's on saying we have taken 4 points from the last 15. Yeah, it's awful. Players look like they've gone. Surely time to mix it up a bit. Stello and Prisker up front and another 9. I don't think we're going to be mixing it up to that extent, Ricky, until those playoffs aren't possible. Imagine if he mixes it. Saturday we put out an experimental team and we get beat. He's given up already. What's the matter with him? Sack him. He's give up. You can imagine I know what it would be like straight away. Any other 9 players? Hang on. We have taken 4 points from the last 15. Yeah, it's bad, that, isn't it? Okay, and another 9 players. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's much point in mixing it up when next season we're probably going to have 3 completely different, really big players in the team. So I don't think what we're going to see this summer is a mass exodus of players and a mass influx. I think we're probably going to see 3 big signings for us. And when I say that, I don't mean, we're not. I don't know who it will be, but I think a goalkeeper, a number 10, and a left-sided centre half. Those are the 3 things I think that we'll be looking at in the summer. We can put the rest around it. Don't forget 3 players is almost a third of the team. Graham Busby, Gray, how you doing, mate? McAtee, midfield, another player, if we could get him in. Yeah, nice player. I would personally, there's a few others that I would like in front of him, but we was talking about it yesterday, weren't we? A few number 10s, and I don't know. Imagine he pulls out the same lineup and gets beat. Yeah, but it happens anyway, mate. I mean, I don't think, as long as he keeps playing to try and get us into that, into the playoffs while we got a chance, no one can complain about it, And if we get beat, we get beat. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it. I think that whatever happens now, unless it becomes absolutely dire, he starts next season, Chris Davis. I don't think there's any doubt about it. And we've seen Tom Wagner saying this. And at the moment, don't forget, everyone's going on about Tom Wagner. Tom Healy's there as well. And Tom Healy, I think, is a big supporter of Chris Davis. So I don't think there's going to be any change in that. Did you see the Blues version with Stano, Gray, Pike, Gray? Oh right, I'm sorry, I didn't read the one above, the Peaky Blinders thing. That's today. No, it's next Friday, isn't it? Lee saying one Gray, not two. Yeah, I think we've only got one. It'd be nice to have another one. Yeah, that's next Friday, that Peaky Blinders release. Someone told me there was a new series of, and there isn't, is there? Unless someone's just found the old one and started watching it, I don't know. Let's see how we're getting on in terms of comments. That comments I've had so many recently. We've still had like lots of people, but not. All right, well, we're nearly getting to 60 comments, so we're back up there to where we used to be. Yeah. So, what's people's thoughts about tomorrow? Give us your score predictions, or a win or a draw or a loss. It'd be interesting to know. Out today, mate. Oh, is it? I thought it was next Tuesday. Okay. I'll see if we can watch it later today. Yeah, so score predictions, points predictions for tomorrow. Couple of weeks off. You know, like recharge our batteries, get a couple of players back, and go in for the final push. Richard is saying new film is on Netflix from today. Okay. All right, and so it's a film. It's not a series. I wasn't sure. I know there's a new film, but I thought there might be a series or somewhere. I don't know. Yeah, so perhaps if you want as well, put your teams into the group. I'll put mine in probably later. I'm out tomorrow. I'm going out at 11:30 tomorrow to see the game. So 1:30 kick-off over here because we're an hour behind you. So an hour in front of you. So cheers, mate. Cheers, Lee. So you know, I don't know what sort of condition I'm going to be in tomorrow afternoon. So Beck, if you're still on, don't make any plans for tomorrow. A draw 1-1 or 2-2. Graham Busby still go. Draw. We can't hold on to a win. It's funny, isn't it, how like people now like are sort of a little bit more cautious about how we're going to get on. I think we'll win, but it will be hard work if we don't. You know, Chris is going to come under a lot of in for a lot of stick again, but he does anyway. It doesn't matter if we win or lose now. You know, I think you got people like Chris Gosler putting shite out there and other people. You know, I don't want. I mean, not just him. Lots and lots of people just jumping on the bandwagon. You know, and I don't think it's a great thing to do. We want to, you know, all of us should just be pushing behind him now, and then we can have that conversation in the winter, can't we? Sorry, in the summer. Harry Parker is saying Tommy Shelby team talk. Right, you bunch of. Because despite the provocation from Sanderson, no fighting. I think I don't see Sanderson is going to be very provocative, to be honest with you. I don't think he is. I think he'll be concentrating on his own game. He's not great in a back two, and I think he'll have his work cut out tomorrow. Doesn't matter who plays up top, because if Ducks ain't going to play up top. If he plays, he'll play in the 10. So if it's Stansfield or Priska, both of them two are going to. He's going to have his hands full. Both centre halves are, but it's the other end I'm looking at, and looking at Agyemang and Smodics and Brereton Diaz and Brewster. You know, those four carry quite a threat, and we have to be ready for it. I'm sure the gaffer's had a look at them. Is Ricky here? Fancy it to be a draw, 0-0 or 1-1? Yeah. So hope it's not a 0-0, eh? Richard's coming on. Our playoff hopes are gone. Well, they haven't, have they? Really? Just got to hope for an 8th finish. Why have we got to hope for an 8th finish? I mean, our playoff hopes haven't gone. I just don't get that. You know, we can still get in the playoffs. Why have the hopes gone when it's mathematically possible? I mean, you might not be hoping for it. I don't know, but I certainly am. I'm not. I'm not. You know, I don't think it's a great possibility or even a probability. But our hopes haven't gone. I mean, if you're a Blues fan, how can your hopes ever go? If you haven't got hopes as a Blues fan, you've got nothing at all because we don't win anything. So hopes is a great thing. I don't get that, you know. I just don't get that. Here's Paddy. How you doing, Pat? You all right, son? I think Billy's coming over next week, Pat. I can't remember when you're coming, Pat. You have to let me know, mate. Give my love to Flo. Pat Haslam's on. Look, we call him the cocktail kid over here. He likes a bit of sangria, and be nice to see Pat over again with his vest on and his cap, drinking his big tea mug, workman's tea mug of sangria. It'll be good. Nice, Pat. I've seen them lovely photos, Pat, of the granddaughter's 18th last week, mate. Absolutely loved them. So, we're on the hour. We've had a nice chat today. Let's hope that we can get something. I will enjoy Billy, I will. Pat, I'll do my best. Let's keep our fingers crossed for tomorrow. See what the team is. Be interesting. Show us what what you think your team might be, and we can all have a look at it and put our own teams in, and then see who was wrong at the end of it. It's usually me. Have a fabulous Friday night. Don't get too drunk. Have a great day tomorrow. If you're going to Derby, stay safe. It's not too far, so it's not too bad tomorrow, is it? And hopefully we bring something back, guys. Thanks so much for giving me your company today. I've really enjoyed it. Be lucky all of you comes from Lee and from me as well. I'll be in the pub watching tomorrow. I'll send you a few photos. Fabulous, guys. There it is. Keep right on. I'll see you soon. All the best.